Ghana and the world at large have lost a great gentleman, Busumuru Kofi Annan, a former UN Secretary General. On this episode of News Connect on City TV, we speak to some dignitaries. My name is Kojo Achman. Stay tuned. You work closely with Kofi Annan. Who was the man you knew?
The man I knew was the same man that everyone knew. There were no two Kofi Annans. There was one Kofi Annan. There was the Kofi Annan that we all knew from television, that we all knew from the politics. And then there was the private Kofi Annan who was the same person. He was a genuine, humble and kind man.
He was a great leader who inspired all of humanity. The 40 years I worked with him at the United Nations. After he's retired, I've been working with him on the Kenya Reconciliation Commission, on the Syria dossier, and the numerous assignments that he had. I've been working with him all along. Very humble man, he really had great foresight. He was a conflict resolution man. He was a man of peace.
He was a voice for the voiceless. He was a patriot. He loved Africa, and he was humble. I think he's truly irreplaceable, and I believe that Ghana has done an incredible job of saying goodbye.
I've worked with him about 24 years as a United Nations Development Program officer. But today I'm coming to represent His Excellency President Adama Barrow of the Republic of the Gambia. He's not only for Africa. He was a global leader. He was an illustrious and humble person, a very compassionate person who really cared for human lives. He was a human rights activist, a social justice champion, a father. He considered everybody like his child, and more importantly, he fought for the most vulnerable, women, young people. And today, we are celebrating, we are sad, but at the same time, we are celebrating the life of an illustrious son, an illuminary African child who has worked tirelessly for humanity. He has gone through the ranks in a very modest and humble way. It's very difficult for you to recognize the late Kofi Annan, apart from knowing the image and knowing him from physiognomy, because he was a humble person. And these are the things that he has left with us. We are here as humanity, as a country, Gambia. He loves Gambia.
Well, as a UN staff member, probably 20 years.
20 years.
And then for the last 7 years as with him at the Kofi Annan Foundation.
Wow. So tell us, how well did he relate with his colleagues, his peers, and then the subjects?
Well, he was in many ways an extraordinary individual. He was very humane and deeply compassionate. You see him and you think that's a great man. He was. But he was also a very good man, a person who thought a great deal about those who worked with and for him, and took great trouble to look after them in good times and bad. So he was also a man with enormous energy, political vision, fought hard to protect the rights of others. So I think he is, as I say, in many ways, quite an exceptional man who's admired not just in Africa, but throughout the world. I hope Ghanaians understand that, what an impact he had on all of the world, not just Africa, not just Ghana, but all over the world. And at the foundation, we've received tributes for him from all parts of the world. Great leaders, but also ordinary people.
I believe there were difficult moments. How did he deal with you on those difficult moments?
I think he did not see difficulty as an issue. He saw challenges, in my humble mind, and he dealt with it in a very diplomatic way. He was a very seasoned diplomat, an international development practitioner, expert, and he thought that human value, human touch, interconnectivity, and personal relationships are fundamental in solving global crisis, national crisis, up to the village crisis. So he had difficult moments. I can remember like Rwanda, the genocide, where we could see he did everything. He did everything. He tried. But we know human life. He couldn't do it alone. He was with other people, but it was quite a complex situation. But we all saw and we celebrated him and we salute his life for the humility that he took to ask for forgiveness about what happened in Rwanda. He regretted it. He apologized to the whole world, and that is a human value. That's a virtue for someone at his level to recognize his organization could have done better when they couldn't do it at the time because of circumstances beyond their control. But and coming out to apologize illustrates what type of a human being he was.
So what are some of the traits that he exhibited that you think Africans and the world in general can emulate for our development?
I think above all, tolerance, understanding, willingness to talk to people and to try to get to their point of view. He didn't necessarily accept it, but he was willing to listen. Listening, he kept telling us at the foundation, listening, it all begins with listening. If you don't listen to people, you're not going to understand them. And if you don't understand them, even if you don't agree with them, if you don't understand them, you can't solve the problem. You will become part of the problem. And I think that's the most important lesson. Listen first, talk afterwards.
I think Kofi Annan was incredibly humble and gentle, and he paid attention to detail. I think if most people exhibit some of these qualities, the world would be a fairer, more empathetic place.
I can give you an example. When he first became Secretary General, the first OAU meeting that he went to, the preparations that he made for that, he said to me, Lamin, he said, I'm going to go to our conference, tell our brothers and sisters what's wrong with our system, what's wrong with the way things are going. If we don't change, the world is going to leave us behind. We have to get our house in order. We have to stop these conflicts. We have to focus on development in our area. He went in there. When he spoke, you could hear a pin drop in the hall. And he told them the truth. That coming from an African Secretary General, for the first time he was speaking to them as Secretary General, they just could not believe what they were hearing. When the meeting ended, the first bilateral meeting we had was with Nelson Mandela. He was president. We went to President Mandela's summer suite. We had a meeting with him. President Mandela hugged him and said, Kofi, you are the only one who could come here and tell this truth to our own brothers and sisters. And I'm very, very happy that you did this. He went on and on and on praising him for being very brave, very daring to tell his own people, let's get our house in order. You don't invest in bad neighborhoods. You don't invest in neighborhoods that are not getting anywhere. Let's stop the conflicts.
A great man that the world has learned and is learning a lot from. May your soul rest in peace, former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. That will be all for this episode of News Connect on City TV. My name is Kojo Ajman. See you soon.